welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a video in store for you guys that I wanted to film for quite a while, and that's why I chose to become a strong autistic woman. I've been wanting to film this video all of Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, and I waited till like the end of the month, but that's okay. Better late than never. For anyone new here, I guess I should introduce myself, and as you can see by my background right here, I am a doll YouTuber, but I do a lot more than just dolls on this channel. I am an autistic woman. I was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified when I was 4 years old, and actually in January, technically, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, so I have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder pretty much. And that's what PDD/NOS was like brought into when they redid the DSM for DSM-5 back in 2013. I've had this diagnosis for quite a while now, and I'm 21 years old, so I have a little bit of life experience under my belt, so I want to tell you my story and maybe offer a little bit of advice. Maybe hopefully you can use a little bit of my journey and some of the stuff I've been through and overcome and learned about to maybe help yourself in your journey. But other than that, I'm a country girl. I'm currently a college student. I don't exactly know what I want to do, but I know I want to do something where I can hopefully help people with special needs, specifically on the spectrum, if possible. And I also absolutely love creating content. I just do it for fun as a hobby, but I make all kinds of doll content and just lifestyle and autism stuff. So one thing about my autism story that's a little bit unique, I think, is that, like I said, I was diagnosed when I was 4, but I didn't find out that I was on the spectrum until I was 16. To be honest, I really knew when I was like 13 when I met the first other like autistic person I met who told me he was on the spectrum, and I identified that I was a lot like him, but my mom, when I asked her about it, she said I wasn't because she was worried that that would maybe change the way I see myself or something. But I do actually think it would have probably been a good thing, possibly, I think so, if I would have found out when I was 13, but definitely this experience made me the person I am, and I'm grateful for that. Living in a small town on top of being on the spectrum and not knowing about it, I was always kind of the weird kid growing up. I never really had that many friends. I think it was partially just because, like, when you live in a small town, there's not that many people to actually meet and be friends with. Plus, I didn't go to public school, so that too just probably made it harder, but I did really like some parts of my school experience though. But I didn't have that many friends, and by the time I was 13, I met another person who was on the autism spectrum, and me and him were really, really good friends at the time. Unfortunately, we lost contact, but he told me about him being on the spectrum, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a lot like you. And we talked about like some deep stuff. He never like said I was on the spectrum. I think he knew, but he never like said it. But we talked about a lot of stuff, and he became my best friend I had when I was in 7th grade. And after that, I kind of like really was like, kind of felt for the first time that like I wasn't weird, because I had a few different symptoms. I'll put them right here because it's easier to like not remember while I'm filming this because I get nervous when I'm recording. But anyway, so around that time too, was the first time I actually didn't know about autism until till I was 12, and I also too didn't know that really people could have special needs to an extent. But one thing that was hard about that though was when I was like 12, 13 years old, when I was in 7th grade, some kids in my class were kind of mean to my friend who was on the spectrum, and people started making fun of like people with special needs, which was really rough considering the fact that I went to a Christian school. But I mean, no one's perfect, and I really hope those kids are doing better now, not doing that anymore. But I remember too that like I was very, very sensitive. Like if I was made fun of when I was a kid, I would cry. Like I cried all the time as a kid, just all the time, because I just had a very hard time dealing with and understanding my emotions. Also just pretty emotional person. But my friend, he really took, like, if anyone was mean to him, he didn't let it hurt him, and he knew actually how to handle that a lot more than I did at the time, and he kind of helped me with that. It was also around this time that I started watching a really, really cool YouTuber who doesn't really, she still makes YouTube videos today, and I'm very happy she's actually back on YouTube, but she doesn't make a lot of the same kind of videos I watched growing up. I've talked about her on my YouTube channel before. Absolutely love her, but she was a really, really awesome YouTuber, and she collected toys, especially G1 My Little Ponies, which I still love, but I was super, super into at the time. But she was different too. And that was, I feel like, the first time when I was like 13, 14 years old when I started watching her, that I ever saw a woman who was different, who was just so cool, and she knew what she liked, and she made advice videos. And I mean, she didn't take nothing off nobody. And I just remember thinking that, like, she was so cool, so beautiful, she dressed unique, and that really meant the world to me too. And honestly, after that point, I knew I wanted to be like her. I also heard a tragic story about a girl on the spectrum. I'm not going to go into this story too much here, who, I don't really want to talk about it, but she really helped me out along the way hearing her story, and I also feel like she's a big reason that contributed to who I am, because at the time when I heard about her when I was 16 years old, that was when there was a lot of bullying going on at my school. This was right after I found out I was on the spectrum, people like making fun of people with ASD and stuff, and hearing her story and some of the stuff she believed in and stuff really meant a lot to me, and she really helped me out. I don't want to talk about this too much in this video, but maybe I will in another one. But those three people really helped me out a lot along the way, which will make sense when I tell the rest of my story. So I guess a thesis statement of this video would be why I chose to become a strong autistic woman. And one thing I'll say is living as anyone with no problems in the world is very hard, and it's a lot, but you can get through it and live a great life if you're strong. So, when I found out that I was on the autism spectrum, I asked my mom about it, and she told me that I was, and she went through the whole thing about like what pervasive mental disorder and otherwise specified is and what ASD is. And my mom did not really understand a lot of the whole like autism, high functioning autism, Asperger's, and PDD/NOS all being like roped into ASD, which is the new way that we diagnose now because of the DSM-5, which I for the most part agree with, but my mom did not understand that, so she was like explaining that, like, I'm high functioning, I can live a normal life, I can have a job, I can go to college, like I'm doing now. I work part-time and I go to college. But and she just was not very positive about it. And I remember that I was thinking that the moment I found out that I was on the spectrum was going to be this like amazing, super like fulfilling thing where I could finally understand myself, know why I'm the way that I am, and connect with others. But my mom did not get this at first, but I was sure to tell her about it. So when I was in 8th and ninth grade, mostly ninth grade, I was diagnosed with intrusive thought OCD. It was hard. I just had horrible intrusive thoughts that ruined my life, but I thankfully am doing a whole lot better now, truly just because of the Lord. He's the only one who helped me get through this, because it can be hard, but I'm very grateful that I'm doing a whole lot better with that now. But I started looking up stuff on the internet, just trying to find anything that can help me. I mean, I had a lot going on at the time, but one thing I discovered when I actually found my pediatrician mentioning Asperger's, I looked up what Asperger's was, and that was when I also too kind of found out I was on the spectrum. And I found these videos of these really awesome autistic people making YouTube videos about being on the spectrum and what you can do, like things you can help yourself with the issues you have. And I just thought this was the coolest thing, that here are these people like me who are quirky, they have all of these like issues and problems, stuff that makes their lives harder, but they've worked through a lot of stuff, and now they're making videos of how other people can work through stuff and make stuff a little bit easier for them, understand themselves better. And I just remember thinking that this was the coolest thing in the whole world, and I just one day really wanted to do this. I was so just empowered when I found these people, and I was really like coming to my mom looking for like, hey, I'm like this, I want to understand myself better, and I want to interact with the autism community and just finally find other people like me. Because knowing about that kind of stuff and having others who can help out, just friends and understanding, that can be really helpful when dealing with the bullies and doing what you think's right in those situations. So I continued to learn more about autism when I was in 10th grade when I found out about it. I was 16, but then I went through 11th grade, and then when I was in 12th grade, I got really serious about it, and I started doing tons of research. And I kind of started like my Instagram account around that time, and I kind of connected, or at least maybe saw some videos of stuff like Instagram, which is a little more personal, I feel like, than YouTube, other people on the spectrum too. And also when I was in 12th grade, I joined a group for people with special needs online, which really meant a world to me. I plan to make another video about that sometime. And just meeting other people like me for the first time, so many of them, just really changed and meant the world to me, because I wasn't alone in the weird kid anymore. There were people like me who didn't judge. It was just, well, I mean, I think a lot of people judge me, and just because you're on the autism spectrum doesn't mean you're going to judge, but you know what I mean. People like me, and it was just such a magical and empowering feeling. And I totally am a big believer in that, like, autistic people can be friends with neurotypical people and also other autistic people and just anyone with all types of different stuff. But for the first time in my life, meeting other people who are different and not being expected like I was as a kid, diagnosed with PDD/NOS, to fit in, but to be me, not a, not a neurotypical girl, not an I mean, I am an autistic girl, but like not like I could be me who I am. And that was so very, very just eye-opening and empowering to me. And as I grew older, I saw that this stuff really means a lot to me. I've always really cared about people and wanting to make the world a better place. And I think that a way I can do that is hopefully, helping other people on the spectrum and making just being autistic a lot more normal, as well as many, many other conditions, both mental and physical, that people have. Because I feel like often so many of us are judged, whether it be obvious or not, for so many things. And it's so, so very sad. And I think we need to be a lot more caring and understanding of others. And I just decided to become a strong autistic woman because someone had to do it. I know so many of you others out there too are doing it, but I can't be like these other people who bully people, make fun of people for being different, exclude people. I'm not going to be like that. And you don't need to be like that either. And here's the thing, I'm different, but I'm not ever going to hide that. I mean, I'm going to be me. I can be, of course, I'm very professional when I need to be. Does not at all make me not professional, but I am me and I don't care what anyone else thinks of me. I will be my quirky, kind, just overly me, Katie self. And I think that's the way I'm supposed to be. I mean, this is the way God made me. I'm not gonna filter myself because some people just want people to be normal and boring. I won't conform to society and give up the kind of stuff I like for more acceptable hobbies and acceptable interests. I'm gonna be me. And I mean, as someone who's hoping to help people on the spectrum as a career, I don't necessarily might think it might not be like a good idea to like sign up on an application telling this, but I'm going to be honest about this stuff. And hey, if it ever holds me back by anyone, I'll just know that that's not the best person. There's a better path for me in mind, meaning like if someone doesn't let me shadow them or nothing, because hey, if these people are willing to help people with special needs, they need to see how a woman who got their help as a kid turned out. And the fact that I want to do it now, I mean, it'll be a hard road, but I think it's one to fight because I mean, you gotta stand up for what you believe in, and you know what I mean? Like, if you don't stand up for what you believe in, you fall for a bunch of bullcrap. And I'm trying not to quote a certain country song lyric I really love that I may or may not listen to after filming this. But I mean, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And there's tons of bad stuff going on in the world, like always. But I feel like it's really time that a lot of autistic people stand up and they work hard. They are, but I'm saying it's important that we stand up and work hard for what we want and what we can do and not just settle for, nothing like not just settle for like anyone, you're like not trying your best. You need to do what you can do to live the absolute best life you can because so many more things were difficult for me as a kid and finding other autistic YouTubers who talk about how to deal with sensory issues, how to deal with like social difficulties and stuff, and just feeling not alone meant the world to me as a kid. And I truly just mean believe us sharing our stories and being our authentic selves means the world to other autistics out there, and it helps others understand us. So I'm going to be me. I'm going to share awareness about autism, who I am, while I help others with it, hopefully as I try my best you know, get a career like this. And if people don't like it, they can just go talk to someone else. And I really feel like a lot of people, especially including my mom and the three people I spoke about earlier in this video, really helped me arrive at this conclusion and become the person I am today. But one of them, really particularly, I really believe touched my heart and really helped me become who I am and refine what I believe in. And it's a sad story, but there's definitely some beauties, and I could definitely see how the Lord's used this to help a lot of people. But the girl I spoke about earlier, she was diagnosed with Asperger's, and she was bullied. She had a really difficult time making friends. It was a really sad story, but that girl's no longer here, and her absolute dream was to make friends. And she talked about that she wished that other people were like her because it would be like she can make friends then. And at the time, I partially just because of like my mom not knowing about that kind of stuff and just other people too, like because like I said, as a kid, I really felt like I knew I was autistic by the time I was 13, and the fact that people hadn't told me about it, like including teachers and stuff, maybe I wasn't autistic enough, or maybe for some reason my people didn't want me to like my family or something didn't want me to associate with these other people like me. That was not the case at all. It was just a whole misunderstanding. But and this time I was really thinking about that, and I felt left out. And also too, at the point that time I started to realize that I think I could, like, I definitely am interested in dating anyone, but I also realized that I am really interested in dating other people on the spectrum and just people who are just quirky, different individuals in general. That's the main type of people I go for, just people who are different, because I'm a different girl and different people rock. If you're different, remember that, you rock. But hearing that really brought it home to me that, like, this girl's story, that was what she wanted, and it would just be terrible for me not to let myself be who I am and be with the people I want to be and become the strong person who is who I am and loves my community, whether it makes people realize I'm more special, you know what I mean? Like, realize I'm special, not if they didn't see that to begin with, because I am who I am. I am who the Lord made me, and I have the journey that He decided for me, and I'm going to do everything in my power to just just be the best person I can be and help anyone else out along the way that I can, because that's just the kind of heart I have. Very, very thankful for that, because it's the best way to live your life. But that really meant the world to me, because too, hearing about another girl on the spectrum, which at that time had only heard of boys on the spectrum, that really meant the world to me. And hearing about this girl having a really, really kind heart, and just also too, like me, because I really, really liked my friend who was on the spectrum. I bonded with him a whole lot. Like, seeing her, wishing people were like her and all that just really made me feel not alone and like I belong. And the story really gets to me, but that's one of the things that I really believe her story really made me realize I'm going to be who I want to be, because I have to. I have to be me, and I have to share the importance of just not conforming because you're different, but being who you are, and using really like the positive parts of being special and different to be who you are and help out others' journeys along the way, because that's really what I believe we're here on this earth for. We're here to live and exist, but also to help out others along the way, because we're all in this together. And if you're on the spectrum and you're being bullied, or your family or other people aren't accepting of you, and you feel like for whatever reason you can't be yourself, if you can safely, please do, because you matter so very much, and God loves you so much, and he made you just the way you are. I don't believe My beliefs are that God makes us like we're perfect until we sin, and then because of that, that is why we have the negative and the hard parts of life. But who you are and the stuff you like about yourself, and even some of the stuff, all the stuff you like about yourself, God made you that way. Like, if you're worried about, like, I'm different, I'm weird, as long as you're not doing anything bad and trying to be the best version of you could be, but you still feel like you're different or weird, there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, we gotta work hard. Like, a big thing of mine is, like, stuff that makes people, like, with, especially ASD's lives harder, like, for instance, sensory issues. For me, a big thing was just not knowing how to socialize at all. We've got to, even if it's hard and unfair, we have to try to work through the best of the stuff that we can, because, like, I was able to make a lot more friends when I got better at socializing. And please don't ever feel like, bad about, like, not being able to do stuff, not being able to do stuff, because you can go at your own speed, but, like, truly, when you can make sensory stuff be less bad for you, it allows you to do a lot more things. Like, that's the only way I can go to doll shows now, because as a kid that would be hard for me, and because I was able to work through that, figure out ways to help myself not be so overstimulated, I can do it now, and it's great. But there's nothing wrong with you, and I ask, please really consider being yourself, even if it's just a little bit or a little bit more, because we have to be the ones to show people that there's nothing, we're just nice, we're just normal people, and we shouldn't have to conform to society for certain accommodations and stuff we need. We need to stand up for that. And as well as too, just people not making fun of people who are autistic, just people understanding we have to be strong, and we have to stand up for this to help the next generation of autistic people and each other. I know I probably could have said some stuff better, and I'm really trying my best, but that's why I chose to become a strong autistic woman, because I want others to see me, and I want to be happy, because I know if I'm like this, man, I don't got any regrets, you know? So I think it's better to be you than pretending to be someone who's not you, because I promise, you're a pretty cool person. So stay kind, stay weird, always stand up for what you believe in, and work to become the best person you can be, and have a blessed day.